We have all been told that a lot of good exercise is wonderful, but recently a lot of data have come in that people who do very vigorous exercise very frequently are at greater risk of atherosclerosis. They have greater risk of cardiac rhythm abnormalities. Similarly, too high in HDL. HDL is supposed to be the protective cholesterol. But anybody who has more than 80 is actually at a higher risk of heart attacks. So better keep it above 45, preferably around 50, but certainly not above 80. Similarly, LDL is supposed to be the bad cholesterol. But people with less than 70 milligrams of LDL cholesterol are now shown in studies to be at a higher risk of heart attacks. So we are now beginning to recognize moderation, and the middle path is probably the best, except for tobacco. No smoking, no tobacco product of any kind, anytime. Similarly, fruits and vegetables, of course, you can take plenty because they are protective. So these are important lessons that we are learning, that heart attacks occur because of reasons which are slightly different from that of angina. The overall risk factors like diabetes, blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, low HDL, all these are common. But whereas angina occurs because of chronic buildup of these fatty plaques, which grow and start blocking the blood supply, heart attacks can happen suddenly when the plaque breaks down, if it is soft, and then triggers a huge clot. So the important thing is that we try and maintain some of these things under control in terms of risk factors. And now, why is it that COVID is also now supposedly causing higher amount of risk? We know that COVID triggers inflammation. As I said, inflammation is the key word. And COVID triggers inflammation throughout the body. COVID triggers blood clots in the veins as well as in the arteries. It can cause large clots to block the coronary arteries, which are supplying blood to the heart. It can also cause what are called microinfarcts in the small blood vessels of the heart. And they can also cause electrical abnormalities and lead to sudden cardiac arrest. So COVID, because of the inflammation, is also triggering heart attacks. And that is something that we ought to be, and it destabilizes plaques. So that is the reason why we have seen an increase in recent years, particularly of what are reported to be COVID-related deaths. And a celebrity who has recently recovered from COVID goes to the gym after a relatively sleepless night of partying and does vigorous exercise, and next day appears in the headlines as a sudden unexplained death at the age of 40 or 45. So that is the problem. Now, one of the things that we must recognize is that heart attacks are indeed occurring at a relatively earlier age in India, but it is also true that they're increasingly occurring among poorer people. Whenever the pandemic of heart attacks starts, any country, or the epidemic of heart attacks starts in any country, it usually starts in the richer sections who have greater access to fatty diets. They have greater access to labor-saving devices like cars, and even tobacco started first in the fashionable smoking rooms of London, but now it is there in every street corner of almost every low and middle income country. So we recognize that over a period of time, those who are rich and educated start understanding why these are occurring and adopt healthier lifestyles. They give up tobacco, they undertake more exercise, and then they also try and take healthier diets, more fruit and vegetables. So whereas now tobacco, ultra-processed foods, all the sachets that you see of ultra-processed foods, they are there in every street corner, and healthy edible oils become less affordable to the poor people compared to unhealthy edible oils. So over a period of time, heart attacks become much more frequent among the poorer sections of the people.